Hi, this is Sir Siege, and welcome to The Probe. Welcome back to The Probe. I know that I haven't uploaded any video in a very long time, and I'm so glad that I'm still seeing you right now in this channel. So, how about you write an editorial?
Hello and welcome back to The Probe. It's been a while since I uploaded something in the series, and I'm glad that you're back. In this video, we are going to talk about the editorial, and we have the following objectives. Ang una nating objective is to know what an editorial is. The second one is to know about its purpose, and then enumerate four major classifications of editorials, and then you have to be able to name the different parts of an editorial. Okay, so first thing is an editorial is actually my favorite part in the paper. Oh, like when I was in elementary, the very first thing that was assigned to me for the cluster schools press conference was to write an editorial in Filipino, and I'm actually quite proud I won in that competition. And then when I went to my high school years, I was also a consistent participant for editorial writing, though it's usually in English. What I really like about the editorial kasi, it's the kind of power that was given to the journalist. An editorial kasi gives the power to any of the editors, or particularly usually the editor-in-chief, to become an articulate leader of community thought. So ano ibig sabihin nun? Kapag sinasabi nating community thought, it means the overall stand of a particular community. And in this case, it is the editorial board, and probably also the mass of people that are reading, or that are being served by the paper. Okay, halimbawa, the school, since we're talking about campus journalism, the school is composed of students, and the editor who will write the editorial, usually the editor-in-chief, um, is being given the chance to stand as their leader in terms of thought, and in terms of opinion. Ayun siya. The editorial page becomes the one place where a paper tries to tell the readers what to do and what to think. Though yung method na ginagamit ng isang editorial writer is not a direct kind of um, telling the readers. Hindi siya yung agad-agad niyang sinasabi ano yung dapat gawin ni reader. So, mamaya we're gonna talk how was that done. That makes the ability to make or to push people to think about something, to do something, makes it a very, very powerful instrument in that case. That is why, sabi nga ng, ng usual nating kasabihan, with great powers comes great responsibility. So, it should be used then with special care for accuracy and with courage, lalo na kapag yung inyong punto ay talagang tama naman. It should be used, especially when your cause, you're sure about your cause and that your cause is right. Okay, we're done about the first part. You know what an editorial is from a bird's eye view. And let's now proceed to the actual editorial. An editorial is the expression of the, again, opinion lang siya. Okay? Well, it has to be separated from opinion writing, because opinion writing or column writing is more personal. An editorial is, again, standing for the thought of the community, and we can begin by the community, by thinking about the community ng editorial board. Okay, so, halimbawa, editor-in-chief ka. Kapag nagsulat ka ng editorial, hindi mo personal na opinion yon, no? Dapat opinion din yon ng yung news editor, feature editor, literary editor, and the other editors, yung mga reportorial staff ninyo, even actually, pwede na rin yung mga photojournalists ninyo, mga artists ninyo. That has to be kept in mind. that the editorial is not only thought by one person. It's not only written by one person. Although isa lang ang literal na nagsusulat, pero dapat it should stand. It has the ability to stand for the whole editorial board. Okay, so again, that is what should be in your mind when you're writing the editorial. It's not your personal opinion. It's the stand of the community that you are in. And in that case, the editorial board. So don't make it too personal, okay? Ayan. Now, what is it about? It's going to be about an issue. It has to be about an issue which is of interest and of importance to the readers. Particularly, you are going to get the topic or the news spec from the set of news articles that you published in the paper where the editorial is written. So what do you mean about that? Halimbawa, for this semester's issue of your broadsheet, kunin mo yung topic mo mula dun sa mga news articles na pinublish ninyo dun sa news pages, no? Dun sa spread ng mga news articles. Dun mo siya kunin. Okay? Usually, oo nga naman, sa broadsheet ko na makikita, no, talaga yung mga news articles. So, kapag tapos na nagbasa doon yung mga readers mo, and then they come to a point when they are already in the editorial page, familiar dapat sila kung ano yung topic mo, no? And so you should extract that, distill that from the roster of news articles that you guys published. Now, it is an opinion of the editorial board. It is the stand of the editorial board. Therefore, it is not expected na i-accept siya ng madla. Unlike writing a news article na it's just full of facts, composed of facts, this is a stand. And if the reader, and if you are going to write it, do not expect that the mass of readers that you have in school are going to accept it like a mere fact. Again, it's a stand. Okay? Maraming facts, yes, pero hinalahaluan mo kasi siya ng konting opinion, ng stand. Okay? So do not expect that it's gonna be accepted like the way a fact must be accepted. Okay? Now, this is M. Lyle Spencer. He was a former university president of the University of Washington. In the book of Elena Q, Tanodra, this was emphasized. Ayan. And Tanodra also included his definition of an editorial, I think, because M. Lyle Spencer is a very prominent person when it comes to journalism. Just one quick search in Matthew Lyle Spencer. Just one quick search in Google and you will see his works. I think books ba yun? Okay. Ng mga creations niya. And they're usually about journalism. According to him, an editorial is a presentation of fact and opinion in a concise, so hindi siya dapat like paligoy-ligoy, pleasing order, so dapat strategically appealing yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng points mo. For the sake of influencing opinion, number 1, entertaining, number 2, paying tribute or praise, or interpreting significant news in such a way that its importance to the average reader will be clear. Okay, so the purposes are number 1, tapos number 2, and then the third one is paying tribute or praise, and then interpreting significant news. That's the last purpose of the editorial according to M. Lyle Spencer. Kaso, how are you going to do that? So, sinabi rin niya dito dapat concise, dapat yung pagkakasulat ay appealing, okay? Tapos, dapat ganito. Kapag binasa siya ng isang normal na reader, gets niya yung sinulat mo. Okay, so how do you do that? Siguro like after writing the editorial, try mo kaya siyang basahin. And if you can get your point, maybe you were an effective writer. Okay, maybe pa lang yun. The only way siguro that you could be certain about that is to have someone else read your article. And if gets nila yung sinulat mo, then maybe that there's an evidence now that you were able to communicate your thoughts to a different soul, to another person. So we can say that you were effective in writing the editorial. So my suggestion is, since this is the stand of the full paper, this must be the editorial must be one of your agenda in one of your editorial board and staff meetings. Talk about it. And if the way it was written was clear to everyone, then it must be published. It must be included in the publication of any release, like say a magazine, a broadsheet, or a newsletter. Dapat kapag binasa siya ng ibang tao, aside from you, malinaw yung ibig mong sabihin. If you're trying to influence their opinion, kailangan na influensyahan sila. Okay, yung opinion nila was influenced. They don't have, again, to immediately accept what you said, but dapat you were able to influence them. Okay, one more is dapat entertaining siya. Okay, so paano sila ma-entertain kung di naman nila nagigets yung sinasabi mo? Kumbaga sa joke, no? If they don't get the joke, how will they laugh? Okay, so may mga jokes minsan na na nagre-require ng konting na mayroong reference, 'di ba? If they don't get your reference, and if the reference naman nga is like almost exclusive to a specific kind of person or people, how will they get that? How will they be entertained? Paying tribute or praise. What if you're paying tribute to a person na hindi naman kilala ng mga estudyante sa school ninyo? How will you, as in they don't see the person, like you paid tribute to a teacher to a different from a different school. How will they relate to that? Maybe you have to pay tribute to a teacher who is actually teaching in your school. So that if not all of them, most of the students in your school know about who that teacher is and why you guys are paying tribute to him, her, or them, right? And then you also have, when you interpret significant news, you have to make it a point that you are not complicating things for them. Kailangan you simplify it, you use terms that are familiar to them. And then you do your thing with the editorial. Kailangan malinaw. Okay. From that we can get from this definition we can get the following purposes or types of editorials. The first one is an argumentative editorial, which is also known as an editorial of criticism. This one points out the good or bad points in a situation stated in the news section and tells the readers what must be done about it. Now, you get the news from the news section. That's the first step. And then you emphasize its good or maybe its bad points. And then you proceed to presenting more facts. Just present more facts until you're making it obvious to them what you want them to do, what you want them to think about. You do that by presenting facts. Instead of telling them that we should be cleaning up our classrooms more, why not just tell them that with the recent inspection done by the student council, they found out that most classrooms are being left untidy. Okay, so maybe just start with that. Like look for facts, and some campus papers are actually researching. Okay, they are extending their work to research by making the facts themselves, or looking, not really making, searching for the facts themselves. That is also my tip for my writers, since you guys are more or less my writers in the campus paper. I would like you to always remember that when you express your opinion, what matters more is what the facts are telling us. Okay? I hate to put it this way, pero usually this is the most effective way of saying it. Sino bang may pakialam kung anong gusto mong mangyari, di ba? Like, sino ka ba? Sino ka ba? Okay, ano bang pakialam ng ibang mga estudyante kung anong opinion mo? Ano bang pakialam nila kung anong gusto mong mangyari, di ba? So what you have to do is, instead of like focusing on writing about what you want to do, what you want others to think about, why not just present the facts and make it obvious to them what has to be done. Okay? The writer, the writer must present the problem and again examine the available facts, and then you have to be capable of suggesting a solution. And how do you do that? I told you already, by also using the available facts. Yung logic mo, mas magiging sound siya if you use facts. Tapos yung tone mo, dapat you're confident. And when it comes to writing the editorial, dapat hindi ka parang, nanguhula. You have to be powerful. You have to be persuasive. Yung motives mo dapat hindi siya yung parang nire-reproach mo lang yung sino mang may kasalanan. Dapat, hindi ka lang basta naninisi. Okay? You have to be above that. You have to be beyond that. And you have to be, your eyes must be open. You shouldn't be blinded by biases. Well, if you are not comfortable with writing about your topic, maybe you should try stepping down and giving the editorial to someone else. Maybe your associate editor can write it better. Maybe the managing editors can write it better. Maybe one of the editors in the sections can write it better. Okay, so consider that. You must not be blinded by bias. You have to use facts. Yung mga topic for argumentative editorials may include school, the need for a remedial reading program, ineffectiveness of the student council. You can make criticism against the student council, and of course, it has to be beyond reproach. Okay, so you have to present facts that are supporting your points. Also, student representation to the school board. Kung wala namang student representative sa board of trustees or board of regents, and you see some problems with that, you have to present facts. Maybe you can include facts like coming from other universities, coming from other schools, where the board of regents or the board of trustees is also including one student representative. Yeah, so you have to make sure that you are using facts in suggesting the kind of advocacy that you have, what you want them to do, what you want them to think about. The second kind of editorial is lighter than the first one. This is meant for entertainment. I think aside from the editor-in-chief, the feature editor can write this one. Though features and an editorial, they are quite close to each other. A good writer knows the difference. Okay, so what appeals kasi, what is unique about the entertainment type of editorial kasi is that they appeal nga to the human interest. And they must be taken from school life. Okay, so you can like talk about life in canteen, no? And maybe tackle an issue in the canteen like the price of the goods in there, the cleanliness of the canteen, and or whatever issue you see in your own canteens. You can also talk about the common area, like usually common areas are very good settings for human interest stories in the school. Halimbawa, if your school has an oval, has a grandstand, if your school has a library, if your school has a park, a mini park, then you can talk about that, yung life ng mga students doon. And then from that, you just have to develop your editorial life. You don't have to complicate it. Okay? You don't have to come up with a bombastic point. Okay? You just have to carry on with the lightness of your topic. It may include your topics may include fads. It may include signing of a yearbook or maybe cheering at athletes. The third kind of editorial is appreciation, commendation, or tribute. Ako, I rarely read commendations, appreciations, or tributes. And maybe this is a wake-up call for us to to start recognizing personalities, especially in our school, and appreciate their work. Okay? Topics may include teachers' retirement from service, like we can thank a professor or a teacher, or maybe even the people who are helping us out in small but very significant ways, like people who are cleaning up our common areas, our common rooms, who are sweeping the ground, who are keeping the school safe. Yeah. You can also commend students who performed really well in a play. Or maybe like if it's not a school play, it could be a play that was by a different organization, separate organization, or maybe by an international drama club, and then we can put an appreciation or a commendation for their great work. Also, you can put like the winning of a team in an athletic event as their topic for the editorial. The last purpose, according to M. Lyle Spencer, is an editorial of interpretation. This explains the significance of a news event or current idea, condition, or situation. Interpret. Explain the significance. Ano ang ibig niyang sabihin para sa mga kapwa mo estudyante? How does it affect your fellow students' lives? Does it change anything? Does it take away something from you? How does it influence you? You have to dissect. Pagpira-pirasuhin mo yung napakalaking issue na yan, and then show each part to the reader. The big becomes smaller, and with these bite-sized information, they will see the nitty-gritty of it, and then understand the situation, and then they will be driven to thinking for themselves what should be done. You did that not by telling them what should be done. You told them what is happening, what is really happening. How does it affect you? How does it affect us? How does it affect the school community? And then, sila na nun, makakagets kung ano yung mga kailangang mangyari. The topics for editorials of interpretation may include the significance of an additional elementary year or additional elementary years, the implications of a new curriculum, yung involvement ng campus paper sa isang science consciousness program for the youth. Interpret them. How will they affect the students? How will it affect school life? Explain it to them. In that case, my writers, I always tell them not to use terms that are so complicated, that may be beyond the reach of a common reader, of a reader who is not very much exposed to those kinds of flowery terms. Okay, so I hope that I made my point clear in there. Avoid sentences that are too long and too complicated. Okay? Sentences that are too technical. Avoid including so many jargons. And if you're gonna use one, you have to define it. inside within the article itself. Define it for the reader. Assume that the reader doesn't understand what that is so that you can assist them right before they even ask for assistance. Your readers are, especially in this era, they want information fast. And if you're gonna require them to look a word up from the dictionary, that's beside the point. That's not the point of you writing the editorial. You didn't write the editorial to enrich their vocabulary. You didn't write the editorial to show off your vocabulary. You wrote the editorial to influence them, to interpret something to them, to entertain them, to pay tribute to someone. That is your goal. So if you are a very good writer, you should know the kinds of words that your readers will understand. Yes, you may understand those words, pero think about the masses and what kind of vocabulary they have. What kind of words reach their ears, their eyes, everything. Think about that. And that is how you write a very effective interpretation of any topic. Now we're done with the discussion of the editorial. Now, how do you prepare an editorial? Well, I think I already told you so many things about it. So let's just pasadahan na lang natin ang mga to. No? Just stick to one topic, one idea to develop. I suggest you write it as one sentence. Siya na yung magiging news spec mo. Tapos, i-expand mo na lang siya in the editorial. So, tumingin ka sa news page ngayon, tapos identify mo na alin dyan sa mga news na yan ang gusto mong parang siya yung parang dapat pag-usapan sa editorial. Tapos parang meron kayo sa editorial board na something about that topic na gustong maiparating sa mga readers. Do that. After doing that, you have to check naman kung interesting ba yun para sa mga readers niyo. Kung interesting siya sa editorial board ninyo, maybe pati sa advisor ninyo or advisors ninyo, maybe it's interesting for the general mass. So, make a rain check. Tignan mo, dun sa community ng mga writers, ng mga artists, photojournalists na meron kayo sa email, try mo. Tanungin mo sila. Like, do you think this topic is very significant? Should we write an editorial about it? And what kind of message do we send to the general readers of our paper? Now, if you know what kind of message you want to send, you also have to know how will you deliver the topic. You have to clarify your purpose. You know what kind of message you want to send. Are you going to send it in an entertaining way? Are you going to interpret it for them? Are you going to persuade them? Will your tone be persuasive? Is your tone going to be entertaining? Is your tone going to be interpretative? Think about that. So, if you're sure that what kind of topic, only one idea, if you're sure what kind of topic you want to develop, if you're sure that it's interesting for you and the EB and even your advisors, and if you're sure how you will deliver that, you have to research now for the needed data. Kapag wala kayong data, wala kayong mga facts, paano mo gagawin yung punto mo? Puro ka na lang ba mag-preach, puro ka na lang ba magsasabi kung anong dapat mangyari, kung anong kailangan gawin, anong dapat isipin? Hindi naman pwede yun. Okay? So, kailangan suportahan mo ng facts kung ano man yung gusto mo mangyari. I actually was telling you not supportahan ng facts eh. I was telling you to use facts and then i-lead mo na lang sila into believing what the editorial board believes in, into doing what the editorial board wants them to do. And you make a very effective editorial through facts. And you get facts by researching, by interviewing, by a systematic collection. And that is how you prepare for the editorial. I think the last one, yes, this is the last part now, is going to be the writing of the editorial. You have to organize the editorial. The actual writing now is being done by any of the editors, and it is divided into 3 parts. The introduction, the body, and for some, it has been optional. This has been optional. Conclusion. How do you start an editorial? It's by writing a very good lead. Meron na tayong separate video lesson regarding the different types of leads. You may want to check on. Now, kung alin doon yung gagamitin mong lead, nakadepende yun. Okay, sa topic mo at saka dun sa purpose mo. So, if your topic is regarding remedial reading for the students, how will you deliver that? Will you be interpreting remedial reading classes? Will you be arguing, or you will be persuading the students to take remedial classes for reading? Will you be making the topic of the problem in reading an entertaining one, pero at the same time, it's kind of like persuading the students that they should be taking remedial reading classes when, the need arises? How will you do that? So you have a topic, you have a purpose. You have to now select the kind of lead that you will be using to introduce, to capture the attention of your readers. Okay, so usually, ang ginagawa na lang ng mga writers ay they can just state the situation na nag-i-stimulate sa mismo editorial, pero I trust you and that I know that you can do better than that. Okay, don't just simply state the situation. You may want to do something more than just that. Okay, so now after the lead comes the body, and you have to, again, the term that we use here is develop. Okay, again, it's develop. When I say you write the body, parang it is something that is already full and you just have to lay it down. No. I am asking you to develop. Start with something and then add something to that and then add something to it. And if something in that series doesn't sit well to you, remove it. Check it. Perfect it by reading and rereading the way you write the body. Once you're satisfied with the sequence of facts, with the way you narrate, you put them into the body, once you're satisfied, you have to continue checking. Check. Read. Reread. Until you are impressed by your own work. If your goal is satisfaction, maybe you could have stopped like kanina pa eh. Pero if your goal is to be impressed by your own work, you have to continue reading and rereading and editing and editing. To write is human. To edit is divine. Hindi ko alam saan ko narinig yun, pero that's true. Kasi napakahirap mag-edit. Again, that is how you're going to be satisfied by your own work. A suggestion is you have to write your facts suggested. Parang nasa courtroom. Lalo na if you're trying to persuade your readers. You don't present the facts all at once. Otherwise, you're gonna overwhelm your reader. What you do is you present one fact and then develop that. And then present a new one. Preferably something that is connected to the previous fact. And then show how they interact with each other. You get what I mean? You have to strategically present your facts. Hindi sila yung i-lay down mo lang siya all at once. Hindi siya parang buffet. na nakahapag na dyan, kukuha ka na lang sila, mamimit. No. Para siyang 5-course meal sa isang expensive restaurant na talagang yung unang isa-serve is yung dapat mauna. Yung pangalawang isa-serve is ito kasi ganyan siya. Parang, di ba, appetizer muna para daw ma-stimulate ang ang appetite mo. And then, konting pause para ma-develop mo na siya sa digestive tract mo. Mag-set mo na siya dyan. And then, isa-serve na yung maybe the main entree, yung main dish. I'm not really an expert when it comes to the sequence of food, pero alam ko na usually last dyan dessert. Okay, so in writing, why will you serve the appetizer, the main entree, and the dessert and the drinks at the same time, all at the same time? If you want to be impressed by your own work, you have to work on how you're going to strategically present your facts and develop each one of them so that the entire body is like a 5-course meal in an expensive restaurant that is also satisfying. Now, for others, especially experienced writers, rounding up the editorial through a conclusion is not really a requirement. Okay, so it really becomes optional for them. However, if you're gonna write a conclusion, make sure that the reader feels as if nothing is missing from what they just read. Think about that. Minsan kapag kumain, parang may kulang. May hinahanap ka, di ba? Sana hindi ganun yung feeling ng mga readers kapag natapos silang binasa yung editorial. Okay? I think we have something more. Ito mga na lang sila, mga konting dagdag na lang. In writing, you always have to start with a bang and with a boom. Okay? Make sure that the way you ended your article is just as good as it was started. And the way it started was just as good as it was. Kailangan ka. With editorials naman, you have to keep it reasonably short. Huwag naman sana, like, 100 words lang yung mga ginamit ko. Huwag naman ganon. Okay, 250 to 300 words will do. That ends our discussion regarding the writing of the editor. Wait na. I'm sorry. Ito pa lang siya. Okay? You have to avoid, before we forget, you have to avoid using the first person point of view. Huwag nating ginagamit yung I, me, tsaka mine. Let us reserve that to opinion writers, to columnists. Ganun na lang siya. When it comes to editorial, since sinabi ko sa inyo, in writing about it, you have to remember that you are writing in behalf of the editorial board, and sometimes even in behalf of your advisors. You have to use the third person point of view. You use we, you use us, you use our, or you can use the name of the paper. So the LHS journal affirms that or believes that, and in that way, it becomes the stand, indeed, of the entire paper, not just your stand. Okay, I'm sorry about that little mistake, pero I hope you understand. This has been the probe. I think this is the 9th video in this series, and the objectives are as follows. We were able to know what an editorial is. Nalaman din natin kung ano yung purpose ng editorial. Na-enumerate din natin yung 4 major classifications ng editorials, and you were also introduced to the 3 parts of the editorial. This is Sir Siege, and I hope that you learned something about writing an editorial through this video. Have a good day.